Okay. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:31. Let's start with public comments. Does anyone have any public comments? Seeing none, we will move right along. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda tonight? The only thing that I wanted to add is just to let all of you know what happened there. I lost half my people. There we go. I just wanted to let all of you know that the town and SoVTA are scheduling a meeting, Tom, for the 30th, correct? Oh, is he still there?
Yes, we are scheduling a meeting for the 30th with you. You're referring to the meeting with the United States Forest Service, Eric?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so we'll be having a meeting on the 30th, the town, SoVTA, and the United States Forest Service regarding moving forward with the Ridge Trail project. So any updates on that we will have for you by the next meeting. Any other additions or changes? No? Okay. Tom, I know I didn't get a chance to check back in with you. Are you able to share any information with us on the Backwoods forum?
Backcountry?
Backcountry, sorry.
Yep, no problem. Backwoods, backcountry, different connotations. Sure. We had a successful event. I think I saw Mike there, if I'm not mistaken. Mike, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciated that. We drew backcountry skiing enthusiasts from Montpelier, from Stowe, from Jay, from several places in New Hampshire, as well as Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Albany area, and the Adirondacks. We were actually surprised by the geographic turnout. We thought it would be kind of mostly, being that this is our first one, mostly local. We also had quite a number of Dover, Wilmington school children that really enjoyed the film, some of the workshops. So yeah, I think we thought for the first one, and kind of mid pandemic or wherever we're at, that it was successful. And the CTA, our parent organization, they were there to assist us, and they helped out as well. And I think it was a success. Maybe if Mike was there, he wanted to give any of his opinion on it, but that's if there's any specific questions, let me know.
Mike, any comments, thoughts?
No, just to chime in, my son and a lot of his friends were there. They had a wonderful time, and it was a really great event. More events like that should take place with all the clubs that can get them off the ground.
Awesome. Now, Tommy, is that something you plan to do each year, or every 6 months, or?
So this event is actually statewide. This was the 8th annual statewide Vermont Backcountry Forum that was sponsored by the Catamount Trail Association. It has generally been up in the north part of the state due to the kind of fast-paced growth of some of our trail systems and some of the buzz that we've created. They asked us to host it, and usually they let a single chapter host for about 2 to 3 years. That way it gets a little more familiar, and by the second year it's even more widely successful than the first.
Awesome. Mike,
and also I should add that the Kaplans, they really opened their arms to us, and without charging us anything, just partnered with us and let us use their space. And they went out and got the permitting, and they were a tremendous hosts, and also gave us a very generous donation. So we really appreciated that.
Excellent. Mike Purcell, you had a comment.
Yeah, I think there are a number of backcountry options that are available to people that come and stay in Dover. It includes everything that, you know, you're working on here in Dover, but also like the Hogback ski area that I help manage. The other part of the Catamount group doing their work at Dutch Hill. So there's really, Dover could really serve as a great hub for this southern part of the state and the backcountry skiing stuff. Additionally, something to talk to the Forest Service about. I've talked to them before about it, and they were receptive, was bringing back the old Ridge Run, which was an event they used to hold from the Hermitage that went, you know, over to Mount Snow and across the ridge and down Haystack, you know, clockwise or counterclockwise. But that could be another event that could occur in the spring that separates itself from all of the other events, you know, that are going on because of the elevation gain. And I think, you know, the Forest Service was on board with something like that. So this hosting this backcountry thing is really offers quite a bit to folks that, you know, want to come down here and do that sort of activity. And it could certainly be expanded on.
Yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
definitely appreciate the, you know, the time and effort from SoVTA to coordinate the event here in Dover. You know, and it's great to see that, or hear that many people got their eyes on, you know, our backcountry opportunities and things like that. So that's great stuff. Good work, SoVTA. Congratulations on a successful event. All right. If there's nothing further there, I did skip over approving the minutes from the October 12th meeting. So we're going to circle back to agenda item 3. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 12th meeting?
Motion to approve the October 12th meeting minutes.
Paul makes a motion. Can I have a second?
A second.
Allison seconds. All in favor? All right. There. I didn't miss anything else, did I, Shannon? Okay, perfect. Okay, so the Ursa grant update. I think I told you at the last meeting that we had that we have been approved or invited rather to move forward with our full application for the Ursa grant, which is the smaller of the two that we applied for. We were not invited to do the full application for the Vorak Grant, which was the Horace Hill project, but the Ursa grant was the $30,000 that we will be using to complete the expansion of the parking lot and some other things up at Horace, at the town forest, which I'll pull up on a map here shortly. For some reason, even though there was a want for inclusivity and a partnership on the grant, I have been informed by the director of SoVTA that they don't feel that they need to be involved with the full application moving forward. They've supplied me with one of the quotes for one of the pieces they had in there. And other than that, I will be completing the grant myself and submitting the full application. So I did just want to pull up and show you guys. I don't know. You got them, Shannon? Share that. So can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so obviously you can see Rice Hill coming up to the current parking lot, which is the area in the center there marked as existing parking lot. To the left, you see that rounded area there. That's a large, in the center of that area will be a large boulder with the plaque kind of laying out the contributions of Phil Bartlett to the town and his acquisition of the town forest. To the left of that, you will see one of the pavilions. On the right side of the parking lot, you can see the expanded parking there, which leads out to another pavilion out on the right. And then, you know, coming in from Rice Hill, you see the memorial arch denoting the area as the Dover Town Forest and Phil Bartlett Recreation Area. So, you know, this type of project will be moving forward, you know, kind of regardless in my mind of whether or not we pull the grant to do it, because it's something we've been discussing doing. But if we can get the full grant to take care of it all, then that makes it even better. So I'll be getting that full application in. If anybody has any questions for me throughout that process, please be sure to let me know. That's actually due November 29th. So I will have that finished up here pretty shortly and ready to submit. Any questions on the Ursa grant or where I'm going with it right now? This is going to be a quick one, folks.
Looks good.
Awesome. So I will stop sharing that so that I can see everybody again. Okay. So again, that's due the 29th. Literally just in the middle of collecting quotes and, you know, getting the application completed. You know, SoVTA did a lot of the legwork here for me with, you know, prior to the submission of the letter of interest. So now it's just taking it to the finish line based on all the rest of the information that we need to have included in the application. So I will have that done shortly. And yeah, Tommy, you had a question?
Yeah, I would just say if there's anything specific, Eric, any questions or any specific help you need with it, if you want to just let me know through this forum and you know, through this Trails Committee here, and I'd be happy to go back to my organization with that.
Yeah, no, totally appreciate it. Like I said, I spoke to the director and they seem to think that you know, now it was outside of the scope of where your focus was, as opposed to when we submitted the letter of interest. So like I said, I'm just kind of taking it forward from the town's perspective to, I mean, it's still a great opportunity. I know it's not a ton of money, but if we can complete this project with it, we'd definitely like to try to see it through to the finish line. So I will absolutely let you know if there's anything specific that I think I need from SoVTA, but I think I'm in pretty good shape.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Allison.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, when is this project likely to begin? Whether or not we get the grants, when is it likely to start?
I would like to see it move forward after the winter. You know, obviously you have to be somewhat conscious of, you know, mud season and things like that. It makes it a little harder to get a project like this completed, but absolutely, I would like to see shovels in the ground for next year. And, you know, this isn't, the expansion of the parking lot itself would actually, I've already been in contact with our road crew, who is completely capable of, you know, clearing the area and expanding the parking lot for us. So it's not like we'd have to wait for, you know, some crazy outside third party to help us complete the process. So yeah, I would definitely, you know, obviously it would still need to, whether or not we get the grant, this is something that would still need to be finally approved by the select board before we moved anything forward. But in my mind, I would like to see this type of project moving forward, you know, by next year.
Okay. Thank you.
This one's not the heavy lift, right? Like this is this is supposed to be the lower hanging fruit of the two. So it would be great to, you know, kind of check this off the list, get that expanded. You know, would have loved to, you know, even expand the parking lot before this winter, just so we didn't have the bottleneck, especially with the expanded interest in the backcountry skiing zones up there. But, you know, just with the timing of the grant and everything else going on, it just wasn't in the cards. So again, I think we get this, you know, shovels in the ground next year, and I don't think it'll take all that long to complete based on, you know, the current design. So I think we could have it done for next year, hopefully.
Good.
Any other questions on the Ursa grant? All right. Moving right along. So the Vorak Grant. Oh, there's Kristen. Okay. So the Vorak Grant, and I'm going to share my screen again, just so we are looking at the same, oh, that's not the right one, stop. Don't mind me. That's the one I want, sure. Oh, I know why, huh? Okay, so this is Horace Hill. And we talked about this, you know, before we submitted that letter of interest, you know, for the Vorak Grant. It includes, you know, the tiered hiking trails, the biking trails, and 17 of our 18 holes of disc golf will be located actually on the property, with the 18th finishing on Rich Kaplan's property on the green there. So the reason I wanted to talk about this tonight is, even though we didn't get approved for or invited to include our full application for the Vorak Grant, I would like to move forward with the planning and budgeting of this process so that we can get this started. I feel like a lot of the legwork has already been done here through the process, you know, with, again, SoVTA, with the help of Pastor Jeremy and myself, to put the maps together, to get the letter of interest done, to get a lot of the ball rolling, and to realize that if even with all of this work, we're still not exceeding or even really coming close to the amount of property that we can affect before triggering an Act 250, which leaves room for expansion, right? So what I wanted to, you know, lay out in front of you guys is that I move forward with this process based on this initial map, you know, with the understanding that, you know, obviously this is a rough estimate of where these things would be. We would be bringing in engineers to confirm that all of these things work together, and trail builders in to talk about, you know, how all these trails work together. But, you know, rough ballpark, this is pretty much what we would be looking at design-wise on Horace Hill, keeping in mind that we would still have potential room for expansion based on the fact that we are under that 9.9, I think it is, acres. Mike, yeah, I see Mike has a question. Purcell?
Yeah, a couple things, but the most important one is, you know, part of this plan that was discussed regarding Horace Hill was to create a hiking, walking loop that goes along the Miracle Mile and then through the woods and then out to Crosstown Road. And there's nothing that indicates, you know, in the way of a footbridge or anything that gets across the brook that goes past the cemetery to provide all of the people that go back and forth to do some kind of circle. And that was sort of one of the low hanging fruits that most mortals could enjoy in the community, rather than just the, you know, biking aficionados or the, you know, whoever. So I'm as far as expansion, I just think one of the key benefits to owning that property has just sort of been ignored right there. You know, that's that notion of both, you know, that portion that follows the river all the way back and lets people go walk out towards Crosstown and around the sawmill and go round and round, as well as when you're talking about expansion, you know, that portion of the Valley Trail that heads south from Crosstown by the golf course, where, you know, until a gross description, until the woman in her jog stroller with the kid inside can travel along there, it's really not a valley trail. So as far as expansion, you know, that should be completed, you know, as well as this, you know, really this big loop here that's right in the center of town that people will be drawn to, and, you know, seniors and whoever. So I'm just saying it's just not just doesn't show up there. And it was one of the key benefits because people love loops, you know?
Yeah, and I think that loop process is expressed, you know, in the trails that are laid out on the actual property here.
Yeah, it's just not shown on the map. That's all.
No, and well, I think what you're referring to is that expansion over to Crosstown Road, which you know, has been promised to the sawmill by multiple people other than
Well, no,
myself.
I'm not talking about, it doesn't have to go through the sawmill. I mean, it's cool that they're doing something down on their land, but frankly, as you sweep and head up the brook, you know, to get towards that old road that's there, you know, you cross, there's an area right by the cemetery where there used to be a bridge, you know, 100 years ago. But I'm just saying that lets, you know, mortals enjoy the terrain without tackling the altitude or climbing the hill, you know, and that's, you know, I mean, look at the people that are using that Miracle Mile there. None of them are, generally speaking, you know, fitness poster children, you know, and those are the folks that can enjoy the most benefit from that loop that goes, you know, round and round rather than climbing to the golf course.
Yeah, and I think, you know, maybe due to scale and, you know, maybe just a little confusion about where some of these trails land, there are those loops and they are set at a grade that allows them to be accessible by the largest demographic of people that we have. I mean, we're talking machine process trails that would allow for, like,
Right.
you know, a wheelchair to be pushed on. We're not talking.
Right, and I'm just saying, you just got to connect over to Crosstown so they can make a circle, because circles are groovier than out and backs.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that information definitely would have been handy when we were going through the process in the first place. Again, like, I know that a lot of promises have been made to the sawmill about a connector.
Yeah, I
out
don't,
that
whether,
way.
yeah, well, whether they're connected or not is immaterial, you know? The fact is, we own the land that connects to Crosstown. It goes through the apple orchard. And anytime you can avoid making people climb the hill, you know, the better. So
So again, I think, you know, if you
Yeah.
look at the map and the fact that we are under that 9.9 acres, I
it'd
mean,
be
there's
simple.
definitely, there's
Yeah.
there's a possibility for expansion, right? But like, we
Yeah.
gotta start somewhere.
No, I
Like,
understand.
this
I
is a
understand.
pretty solid start to that somewhere.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, you know, that's like low hanging fruit for a lot of folks that'll support your projects and anything you do. Old people, you know, families, whoever, you know,
Yeah.
not just biker weirdos or, you know, backcountry guys or whatever. This is like, you know, mortals that can just go round and round and they'll park and, you know, come here for that. So I just.
Okay, so that was point number one. Did you say you had more than one point? And Jeremy, I didn't. I
No,
didn't miss that.
then, you know, when you talk about expansion, just continuing, you know, to do that same sort of sure pack thing for the Valley Trail that takes you to the Wilmington border. You know, the north half of the Valley Trail should be just like that too. And if, you know, all of us bike guys want to get off on exit 3 and take the single track on the left, you know, that's cool. But the mortals again, and the families and the kids and the bike riders need that, you know, sort of thing.
Are you talking about south of the town office?
No, I'm talking about from Crosstown Road before it gets to Handle Road, and then it continues south to the Wilmington border.
Oh, okay.
You know, that part, you know, the north half of what's supposed to be something that everybody can enjoy, but right now it's, you know, a corridor of roots and rocks and not what you'd call, it's not like going from the golf course over to Handle Road in the parking area, you know?
Right.
It's not that. So I'm just saying those are two things that are more community friendly than extreme biking or, you know, what have you.
Yeah, again, I don't see that extreme biking piece as, I guess, as
No, but
as this
generally
map is laid
speaking,
out, I just don't see that. But I understand where you're coming from, and the notes are definitely taken.
terrific. No, that's great. That's good.
Okay, Jeremy, you had your hand up.
Thanks, Eric. No, I was just tracking what Mike was saying and was going to add on, but he got it all.
Okay. Okay, so as far as me moving forward with this base plan, is everybody okay with kind of what we have laid out here, and, you know, kind of the potential budgets and things that I'm going to be working on to make this type of thing happen? I just wanted to, you know, get your guys' blessing, obviously, before, you know, I've already talked to the select board about it. They said that, you know, they're definitely on board with moving forward with the project on Horace Hill, and I think you know, no time like the present, given the fact that we've done all the work to put these maps together and you know, loose budgets and things like that. So, any further questions, comments?
Just one quick question, Eric.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that,
Hold on, Jeremy, wait till I acknowledge you, okay? Sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Paul.
So just one small thing with the snowmobile trail, the existing snowmobile trail.
Mhm.
There's one very small change we'd like to see made. It could probably wait until the first time we actually go out there and walk. I can show you. I think it needs to be documented. I can show you, but just wanted that to be on the radar for
I
whenever
don't,
we get to the, you know, implementation. stage.
right, so that's this trail coming down.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
down here, so
And right
yes.
where it crosses the extension of, just so you know, the Circle View Loop, that sort of yellow fire road there,
Yep.
right where your cursor just was.
Yep.
It makes two difficult 90-degree turns. We like to just straighten that out.
Just put it straight down
Yeah.
through, yeah.
I can show
And
you.
again, I think we can accomplish that, you know, because I don't even know that that counts towards because it's a winter use, that it would count towards the affected area for Act 250 or anything like that. So that's
Probably
not
something
an
we
issue.
should look at when we're out there, just to verify what you just said. You know,
Yep.
It doesn't impact the amount of land, you know, the percentage that we're gonna impact.
Absolutely. Okay, and Jeremy, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Just was wondering if anyone else on the committee needs, there's an updated disc golf course budget, and I'd pass it on to you, Eric, a while ago, but as you're talking about budgets and things, I have that whole document and just want to make sure that everyone has the updated one. If you need it, just let me know. That's it.
Okay, and that's, Jeremy, remind me, is that based on this layout as opposed to what we had before, or is that?
Yeah, it works for this layout. The difference is that at the time, several years ago, the select board, the recommendation to me was to give the maximum.
Yeah.
And so like there's a range there. So, but I'll just put that caveat on the proposal, just so people understand. And also there's a lot of opportunities in there, obviously for collaboration with other projects like whether it's a hiking trail or the bike trails. And of course, also the estimate assumes, as I was told to do, assumes that there is no volunteer labor, which of course there will be. So I will send that with those caveats up top, but just so that people can understand where the money's spent and where it can double with mountain biking and foot trails.
Absolutely, yeah. So go ahead and send that to me, Jeremy, and I'll make sure that we get that out to the group, okay?
And it's the same one you already have, Eric, but I will send it with just a little description up top tomorrow.
Yeah, if you don't mind, sorry, I get
No,
a ton
not
of
at all.
emails, so if you can put it right at the top, that would be extremely helpful to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yep. Any other questions on the Horace Hill piece? Here, I'll stop sharing so that I can see. Anybody else? Okay. So that is that. The last thing that we had on the agenda for tonight was to continue the discussion on the skating rink. We were given some helpful information from a Dover resident, so we took that into account. Do we have any of that, Shannon? Or like, can we send it? No, we can send it out later, right? Like kind of footnote it and send it out. So we'll get that out to you guys. My biggest holdup right now is not, you know, getting the ice rink or getting insurance for the ice rink. It's just that I don't want to move forward with this thing until we can make sure that it's something that's going to be really great. And part of making it really great is making sure that it is maintained through the winter. And as of right now, we don't have a plan for that. Okay? We don't have the ability to assign a town department to take care of it because they're already stretched thin as it is, right? So for me to go to them and say, hey, also from now on, you know, you're going to be in charge of making sure that this ice rink is cleared off and that it's not too chunked up, and we don't have that ability right now. So the piece we're missing right now is who's going to maintain the ice rink and make sure that it's functional throughout the winter. Anybody have any thoughts, suggestions? Mike Purcell, I see your hand raised, and then I got you, Allison. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, yeah, sorry, just had to unmute, we'll figure out which button. Yeah, there's already somebody assigned to clear the trail, right? Where is the skating rink supposed to go? I'm sorry, I don't.
The skating rink would be going on, potentially, we have been granted verbal permission from Rich Kaplan.
Okay,
to use
perfect.
the tennis courts just south of Dover Forge OMT.
So,
What I'm saying
no,
is
I
that
know.
those people who clean the trails are at capacity at this point.
No, I got you. But I mean,
That's-
I'm just asking, like, in other words, right now, there's somebody that is snow blowing the trail, correct? And are they parking over at that parking lot by Rich's? I'm just asking.
I'm guessing, yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know
so-
the specific routine. I would guess they park in the
Yep.
parking lot behind Dover Forge OMT, access the trail from there, and yes, they would be doing that.
so I'm just asking, they have the machine to snow blow and do that sort of thing. Now, as far as resurfacing goes, has the fire department, been engaged to like resurface it or pump water on it or do anything?
I mean, we've talked about it, but to this point, right, we don't have a clear estimate of how many times that would have to happen. I mean, I'm sure that if it was a handful of times throughout the winter, that's something we could organize. But if this is a situation where they're dragging a truck out every week or every other week, like that's a horse of a different color.
Yeah.
No, I understand, but having been on the fire department, it's not that, big a deal necessarily as part of your drills to give the pump operators opportunities to pump and do. I'm just saying, I can't imagine that
I will get you.
we can't figure this out in some fashion, or do you need volunteers, or do you need a skating committee or something to take over? But if there were, a group to shovel it off after the storms or whatever, I mean, are you looking for a skating group to take over that task and coordinate, or?
That's honestly, I think that's what it's going to come down to, right? Because, whether or not our person is snow blowing the Valley Trail, like that's easily another half an hour, 45 minutes or hour of work to get in there and blow off a skating rink that was not previously part of their duties, right?
But it is economic development, it is making people happy. So, I mean, there is.
Well, I don't personally have an economic development snow blower, so I can't.
No, I'm not saying it, but it's one of those benefits you're trying to create so people are happier here.
No, and I 100% agree. But like, this is literally the last piece. So we have, okay, the ice rink costs this much. Okay, we have the property to do it on. Okay, we can add it under our insurance umbrella. The last piece before I can take this package and present it to the select board for an approval to move forward is that we have a solid plan for how this thing would be maintained throughout the winter so that it doesn't turn into a liability or a big old pile of crap. Sarah, I see you. I have two ahead of you. Allison, you were next.
I was going to ask, is there any money available so that we could put it out to the local companies for someone to maintain it, to be paid to maintain it? Is there any money in the town available for that?
No. I think with a project like this, right, we want to get in at the lowest level. Because if we commit to spending a pile of money on this thing and it's a complete flop, which I don't think it would be, but there's a potential for that to happen with any project you do, we don't want to commit to overspending on it, not knowing what the turnout is going to be, if people will actually come out and use it the way they said they wanted to come out and use it. So I would not be super comfortable, budgeting any money to have it maintained outside of, the purchase and maybe a volunteer effort for the first year.
Okay, so equally, if we don't maintain it properly, it could end up being a pile of crap because it's not being maintained properly. So then that it could be its own demise. Is there any way of us asking some of the companies that are around, of which there seem to be many, that they would be willing to volunteer some of their time to maintain it? Could we go along that route?
I mean, we could absolutely put it out. Like I said, I'm trying to, I think that's an option. I think that in conjunction with maybe some volunteer help. I just don't want to put this again, in front of the select board saying,
No,
well,
I
we're
agree.
hoping that this will be the case.
yeah, I
I
think
think
we've got to have someone who knows what they're doing as well. I mean, it's all, you know, I could volunteer to go and help, or I don't have a snowblower and I know nothing about ice rinks. So, you know, you've got to have someone that's going to volunteer that would actually be able to do the job.
Agreed. I have Paul Fisher and then Sarah.
Never mind.
Okay, Paul is no longer commenting. Sarah?
Okay, I think we need to, if we can start with some sort of a realistic estimate of what's actually involved. So going to the rink companies and asking them for 3 or 4 towns that have purchased a comparable product. And then talking to those towns and saying, what exactly was involved? Was it, you know, are we gonna need to snowblow after every storm? Probably. Or is it gonna be the kind of thing where you can ask, like Retreat Meadows, they never snowblow that. People go out there with shovels and they skate behind their shovel and shovel it off that way. You can't go to the town with an ask without having some sort of a concept of what it's going to actually entail. So if we can get a labor estimate from another couple of towns, so we know what we're asking for, then we can either ask the town to agree to funding, which won't happen in this fiscal year. It would have to happen in a future fiscal year because it would have to be put into the budget. And then talk to some of the local companies that do snow removal. And is this something that they would want to tackle? Or is it something that with the trail snow blower that the town has, is that incrementally enough to push it over the level of what the town can do with its manpower and equipment? Or is it, if it's a 20-minute job each time, is that within the realm of what that trail snowblower guy or trail plow actually can do? I don't want to set it up where we say, oh yeah, I'm sure the fire department can do this and it's going to be no problem. I don't know what it's going to, you know, are they going to have to go out and resurface it once a week? Is that really a reasonable thing to ask someone to volunteer to do? I could see asking them to fill it at the beginning of a season, but then the interim we would need to talk about. And that would be something else we could find out from another town that has a comparable rink, is what how often did they resurface? How did they do it? You know, did they're pick the brains of people who've already done it and find out what was successful for them.
Agreed. Thank you, Sarah. Paul?
So just real quick about the water supply. So the fire department is open to putting water there, and I'll do it, and if we have to do it again, that's fine. But I want to distinguish that between resurfacing. That's, you know, in the middle of the winter, if it needs to be resurfaced, that's not dumping more water. That's not what, if you just go out there and pour water, that doesn't resurface it. It's not the way to do it. That's a separate process for keeping it skatable. And that's not something you can do by just adding water.
Okay, so I guess, my next steps here are going to be, I know of at least one town, and I can get, maybe some more of the information from Patricia to see if they can supply me with some more towns to contact. I know Stratton operates a public skating rink, so I can at least reach out to them and see, get some more information from them on how they're maintaining throughout the year. And, like Sarah said, I think this is something that, obviously has to be budgeted. We're a little late this season anyway. I mean, this is not obviously something that's going to be plopped out there next week to get skating on, but it is definitely something I would like to see in the future. So if anyone knows of any other towns that run a public rink, please let me know, and I'll reach out to Patricia and try to see if I can get a little more information about towns who might be operating these rinks. Julia, you had a question, comment?
Yeah, segue into a related logistics question. I'm assuming that we're assuming people have skates to skate on this rink. Otherwise, where are people going, you know, if people drive by and say, oh, that'd be great to go skating. Are we, do we have a plan for how they would get skates, or should we be talking to, I see Mike's very vigorously nodding and shaking his head. So that's just another thing from the perspective of it, that could be a reason for the demise, or do we talk to folks like, you know, the ski places and the ski rental places?
Yeah, so that was the original plan here, was to reach out, you know, as the rink was going to be purchased and installed, that we would be working closely with one of our, you know, local ski shops, to kind of arrange, you know, a rental program, you know, for skates and things like that. Obviously, I don't want to see people out there wanting to skate and not being able to. So yes, that is definitely on the list of things to take care of. But thank you for the point. Any other questions in the meantime?
Eric, Mike Garber.
Hi, Garber.
So if you're talking about possible rental of skates, how are you going to keep the masses from storming the ice rink and not having too many people on the rink?
I guess I don't have an answer for that question, because
Okay, just something to
I
think.
don't know that there are masses. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have an answer to that question yet, I guess. And you know, it would be, until we really have an idea of what the usage is going to be, it's kind of hard to make that call. You know, like, you don't want to hire an attendant and have like one person show up, because then they're just watching that one person. Like, that's a little silly. But you know, like Sarah said, I mean, there's a rink, like a natural rink on the retreat meadows every year. And I don't seem to see that one, you know, with an overcrowding problem. But I mean, it's a valid question. Don't get me wrong, but I think
I could just as easily point you to Lake Placid, that has a tremendous skating rink in the middle of town, where they have sessions going and a Zamboni, and it's a tremendous ice rink and a tremendous attraction on Friday and Saturday nights. So you might want to reach out to them also. They're on a different scale of type of rink, but it could happen very easily.
no, I appreciate the comment for sure.
I would love it if we had the problem of Lake Placid's capacity. That would be awesome. The other thing, in terms of what Michael was just referring to, is perhaps talk to the rink, the indoor rink in Brattleboro, and ask how they manage capacity. It's apples and oranges in terms of the facility, but they put limits on access too. So maybe just picking their brain from the perspective of, how do you guys manage to keep control of the number of people on the ice?
Yeah, I mean,
You know, is there something?
we're not talking about a paid ice rink here. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little different for them, only because they have.
Oh, no, I'm not disputing that. It's a very different situation, but they have the same concern.
Mhm.
Of how do you don't want to have too many people on the ice, because somebody's going to get hurt.
Right.
And I apologize that I don't know this, but what's the size of the rink that we're talking about?
We can potentially go up to, I believe it was 90 by 90 on that space if we wanted to,
Okay,
which is a pretty decent sized rink, actually. I mean,
yeah.
if you get
Because
out
the
there on the tennis
The
court.
Hermitage had an outdoor rink for a while, and it was small and it was very challenging
Mhm.
to be on it. Because it was, you know, you basically were doing U-turns to stay on the ice. So it was great with little kids, but it was not something for, you know, teens or old people.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you get out, I know 90 by 90 doesn't seem like a ton of space, but if you happen to be out on those tennis courts for any reason, I mean, that's a pretty decent sized square out there.
It's a
that we
baseball
can be-
diamond.
Yeah, I mean, it's a base.
It's square? I always thought of it as rectangular.
Well, it absolutely can be, but what I'm saying is
I
that we
mean-
have the ability to go up to 90 by 90 should we want to. Mike, I see hands everywhere. Julia, you already spoke, correct? Okay, Mike Purcell.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as simple as a posted calendar of times that, you know, says whatever hours or kids' hours or night hours or the hockey. Anybody who wants to play hockey can go from 4 to 6. I mean, you could post some sort of use hours that people are just aware of if you had to.
Yeah, and I'm thinking signage on the property as well, when it was like open
Yeah.
skating, to say, you know, max capacity this many, and hope that people could kind of police themselves on it, at least a little bit, right? I have Simon and then Kristen. Oh, sorry, not Simon, Allison. Sorry, I read Simon under your face.
Yeah, it's all right. Simon's iPad. I was just going to say that I agree with Sarah. Wouldn't it be nice to have that worry of too many people? Just from my point with the inn, in the 16 years I've been here, I've probably had a handful of people ask me about an ice rink. So from the tourist point of view, I don't think it would be overwhelming. And just an added, last week I was in San Francisco, it's sitting in Macy's watching people on the ice rink, and there were 2 people on it. So if that gives you any idea of anything. So I don't think that would be an issue.
Okay, and Kristen.
I mean, this may seem like a silly comment, but Mount Snow 100 million years ago had an outdoor ice rink.
No,
And,
indoor.
you know, was it indoor? Okay, I'm trying to remember. It was like the pool was outside and the ice rink was inside. I don't, you know, is there any, I don't know that any of that knowledge still exists on kind of how they maintained that, or any ideas, or any people who still might remember from those days and be interested in being part of a volunteer project to maintain it.
Okay. I mean, probably not, but I will put the feelers out, so thank you for the suggestion. Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, we are going to wrap it up early. Does anybody have anything they would like to add before I end the meeting? Okay, our next meeting will be, thank you, Shannon, December 14th. If anybody would like to have anything on the agenda for that meeting, please let me know the week prior. That agenda comes out at the latest the Friday prior to our meeting. So please have any agenda items to me by that first Thursday in December. Okay? If anybody has any direct questions for me, feel free to reach out. Kristen, I do have you, so I'll grab you in a second. But feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk about any of these things with anyone who would like to discuss them. Okay, Kristen, you had a comment?
One quick question on that meeting that's going on with the Forest Service. Is that open to the public or is that a closed meeting?
That is a closed meeting at this point. We're just trying to establish the roles of the town versus SoVTA versus the United States Forest Service. So that for now is a meeting between the 3 entities. And I will give you an update on the meeting after it has happened. All right. Can someone please make a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Paul moves, second.
Second.
Mike, I think, Allison, I think Mike beat you to it. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. And like I said, any questions at all, feel free to reach out, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Thank you, Eric and Shannon.
All right. Bye, guys.